telling parents, and I hope parents out there actually listening, that it's not for us to actually put the pressure on them. So invariably, probably or invariably, you're saying that most of these decisions of most of the decisions of brilliant students to actually move away from teaching probably stems from the kind of pressure
The
that the parents are
orientation,
giving
yeah.
them, and even the way the
This
perception the
the
society is also
society
given,
game, yeah.
from at the same time what they themselves can see of the
Exactly.
quality of life
Those
that those that
those
are
are,
in
yeah,
teaching,
yeah.
leave and like, no, 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 this is not for
I
me.
can't settle
I
for
can't
this.
settle for this. All right. Well,
Right.
I love that. But then, if at the end of the day the brilliant people avoid education, who are those that will teach our children?
That's what we need to call. That's why we need the attention of the government. That's why they come in.
Mm,
Because they need to start kind of making the teachers feel important, the lecturers. They need to start. We need this kind of sensitization
yeah.
program, campaigns, conferences on educating these people. Do you
Mm,
understand? Because we
absolutely.
need to let them, and we as a person, when last do we call our teachers? Though we don't have all their numbers, but at least we will still have we have contact of some of them. How do we check
Mm,
on them?
mm.
Do we call them? Do we appreciate them?
You should not wait only for Teachers Day,
Yeah.
October 5, to say, okay,
So
let me remember
so
those
we should, there are people
teachers.
we need to always get in touch with. Do you understand? Because when
Absolutely.
we do that, the more you appreciate them, the
Mm,
more blessing you get, and the
mm,
more there is, it's a kind of eye opener
mm.
for us. I still get in touch with all of my teacher, my English teacher. I saw her when we just met randomly. I just told her my name, even with the way I'm dressing. She was like, I just mentioned myself. She said, no, she just hugged me. And like, no, long time. How are you? And we still keep in touch. In fact, she
Alhamdulillah.
gets in touch with me every day. She sent me a daily message.
Wow, wow, I
So
love that.
if we do
I'm
that
impressed.
often,
Yeah.
we would always love that profession
Mm,
because
mm,
they have deposited life into us.
mm. All right. Um, a lot of times we hear of this term, half-baked teachers.
Mhm.
You know, just like although almost every profession you have, in the medical profession, you talk about quacks.
Yeah.
Now, in teaching, you talk about half-baked teachers. People talk about half-baked graduates, especially for faculty of education and things like that. Now, but often that's the end product of a process, I believe. A lot of times people don't pay attention to how exactly those students, those teachers or graduates of education were admitted in the first instance. And I'm talking about this because this year, JAMB, together with the heads of tertiary institutions in Nigeria, the rectors of polytechnics, the provosts of colleges of education, and the vice chancellor of universities, they met and they fixed the minimum tolerable score for applicants, candidates that wrote the UTME this year seeking admission into various tertiary institutions. And in doing that, the university's minimum tolerable score was fixed at 150. Colleges of nursing 140, polytechnics 100, colleges of education where teachers are trained 100 over 400, 25% of the total score in UTME is what we are accepting as a minimum benchmark
For those
for those
that are going to
that
train the
will
doctors.
train the future doctors, lawyers,
Yeah.
engineers. And we complain that we now have the temerity, the audacity to complain of half-baked teachers. Seriously, I don't get it. So now I want to ask you then, how can we reconcile this contradiction? We want the best of teachers, but we want the worst of applicants to actually go into the colleges of education to be trained as teachers. So how do we reconcile this contradiction, and what message are we sending about the importance of teachers in national development, please?
Though it's kind of heartbroken,
Seriously.
sincerely, but I will say it from this angle. if there is enough information set out there for people to understand the importance of education, then we have more people going for that course. And invariably, when you have too much people, they try to kind of make the score higher.
Mhm.
Do you understand? It's because we have even that 100 they're talking about.
You might still not get
We might not
applicants.
even get applicants. Do you understand? So that's how ridiculous the thing is. The reason why we have this high score in medicine, pharmacy, and the like is because we have too much demands there.
Mhm,
And most of the people going into that field did not even want to.
mhm.
I don't want to mention him. There's this hospital when I was still in secondary school. I used to have this health issue. So my daddy said, okay, this is the hospital that you have to go. And everything. I used to hear this information that the hospital, people used to die there. So I was not like, hey, and
You
this
want me to
hospital, they are telling me to go. And they said people used to die there. Why will I now go to that kind of hospital? So I was like, okay. And since at my own tender age, I was able to kind of have this opportunity of self-awareness.
Mhm.
So I try to kind of know myself and understand myself to some extent. And I'm aware of my environment. So try to kind of, and my workplace then, because I started working at a very tender age, my workplace is not far from the hospital. So I try kind of make investigation like CID. Like, why did they say these people, this hospital? I find out that the man does not even want to study medicine.
Oh.
So at the end of the day, he just get people to work for him.
Hmm.
So he doesn't even care.
Oh.
So there was a day I had to go there because of my health. I find out that he was smoking.
Do
Do you understand? So since then, I realized that the root cause of all these things are basically when we get to solution, we'll talk about that. But sincerely, we need to look into that. Let's start this sensitization on letting children understand that we have other profession different, or as in kind of different from going for medicine, law, whatever. These children might not even, they don't have that potential.
Some
Do
don't
you
even have
understand?
that.
They don't have.
We're actually putting
They-
the pressure
on
on them,
them.
and we're trying to
And there's one
force
thing about
them
children,
to
there's
do-
one good thing about children. Whatever you give to them, they give to you.
Mhm.
So either they understand it or not. So when they are growing up, you feel like, my child is brilliant, this is brilliant. You have taken that child into that direction. So you will be brilliant to give you the academic results.
That's what you want.
That's what you want.
So I'll give it to you.
Exactly. But when you look outside Nigeria, you see that they allow their children to kind of, they learn from different angle, apart from this book and pen thing. So
Absolutely.
they usually allow them bring out their potentials.
Skills and different talents.
Exactly. So there is no how we are not going to be getting this kind of results. So invariably, I will tell you that we need more information, because when we have more people going into that direction, I'm sure there will be something. They won't accept 100 again. That's what I'm sure of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sincerely, I can't fault this position of yours. Reason being that I'm a Lagos, I'm a Lagosian by birth, by origin, by everything. And being an educational professional, I felt angry when the state government decided to scrap the colleges of education that we have in Lagos State.
Why?
That we don't have enough students, and we want to actually, so decide to turn it that the applicants for colleges of education have reduced.
Yeah.
So, and for that reason, they had to convert it to University of Education. I was like, from what side of the bed did the governor wake up from to announce such a decision? Seriously. Because it's like we feel that colleges of education are no longer relevant. And the excuse, unfortunately, that the special advisor to the governor on education gave at that time was that how many students do they have? And we have many students that are actually demanding university education, and there is a limit to what Lagos State University could offer.
Yeah.
So they now had to convert the two colleges of education, Adino Ogunsa College of Education and Michael Otoda College of Primary Education. They converted the two, merged the two together, and formed Lagos State University of Education last year. So I can connect with the fact that probably because a lot of applicants are actually not seeking admission to college of education, and probably even for polytechnics, because of even the dichotomy, this HND BSc dichotomy.
Exactly.
So a whole lot of things are actually wrong with us.
Kind of
so and probably
that's
an area we really need to look at, that we need to encourage admission into these colleges and
Yeah.
bring out the importance of this college education. So if probably you have more people seeking admission there, probably will not have this idea of probably settling for 100 over whatsoever.
Exactly.
Now, I come to this question that has to do with the fact that for the society, we believe that educating the younger generation is probably just the primary one, the job of the school alone. And for that reason, a lot of us we become aloof and we stay away, believing that after all, that's their work. But then, how do we help communities around us see that everyone, especially those who probably possess knowledge, who are professionals, who are trained, that make them understand that they also have a role to play in teaching the younger ones? Because I know that even in some places, some countries, you have people in the industry who are invited and they do it out of joy to come to classroom to give back to their communities, and they come and teach for free
Yeah.
at their free time, that because they have already made it, they understand what is out there, so the experience they would give will be quite different from someone who is just probably in the ivory tower in the institution. You are teaching them theory, you don't know, you are not there in the field to know how it is actually being practiced. So how do we encourage people to understand that they all have a role to play in the nurturing of this younger generation?
This will take me back to all either government sectors, the private schools, that there should be a connection between the parents, the school heads, and this community. For instance, I want to give a kind of instance like all this gender-based violence, equality, whatever. You know, all these things are being bring they brought down back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
They go to this CDC,
Yeah, the
CTA, CDAs to come
CDAs,
and kind of give
Resident
awareness and
Association or
everything.
something like that.
That is exactly the same thing we have to do in
Yeah.
education. Bringing it back to the parents. Do you understand? Bring it
Mhm.
back to the grassroots. Then allowing the school, because if you see schools now, when they organize parent teacher meeting, basically they want to talk about parties, they want to talk about open day, how the parents need to reward the teachers and the things like that. They are not talking about how to connect with the parents to bring out the best in their children. That at the end of the day, even after saying the counselors, if we have counselors in school, because I'm not sure there is, we just have some few.
There are, well,
Few schools.
yes,
We are not
I
seeing
agree.
it as
Not in
something
all
very
schools.
important,
Yes.
because that is what we are even discussing. Well,
Mhm.
because I'm doing my MSc in counseling, so some of our professors will tell us hardly will you see schools that have a counselor. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So even after discussing with these children, most of these children have some personal challenges from home.
Mhm.
How do we want to bridge the gap
Yes.
between them in order for us to both the parents,
Mhm.
the school heads, the authorities, seeing that this child, this is how this child is supposed to grow.
Mhm.
You know, when we start with it together,
Mhm.
we will definitely channel that child into that right direction.
Absolutely.
But there is a lot of gaps in that area.
Mhm.
So if that gap can be bridged, definitely we'll get a solution to that.
All right. Now, I know quite a lot of times when we talk about nurturing the younger generation, educating our children, the focus is always on Western education, actually.
Yeah.
And less attention is being paid to religious education. And especially understanding the fact that Western education alone does not guarantee that people will live responsibly. So, and I want to believe that you, as a counselor, too, must have encountered many families who would assume that spiritual education, religious education is the responsibility of Madaris alone. These Arabic schools, Islamia, and
Yeah.
we come up with some of these funny names when it comes to anything religious. Seriously, and or probably during Ramadan.
That's
Fasting
when you are
alone,
supposed to be
that's when
spiritually
you should be
upright.
spiritually upright. Yeah, we'll go for tafsir, we go for public lectures and things like that. Now, how can we shift this thinking and empower parents to become first teachers for their kids, both in faith and character building?
You want me to divert into psychology a little?
It's all well and good.
Yeah.
It's for our listeners. We
Yeah.
just want them to get the best out of it.
Yeah. I will still go back to the knowledge base, the information base, because for any child, either spiritually, education wise, whatever, still boils back to the parents, because that's the foundation.
Absolutely.
And that's why what did the prophet say? He said, if you are looking for a wife, look for the one that the land is okay for you to
It's
put in
fertile.
your do you understand?
Absolutely.
So in
Be
that
very be
be
selective.
selective. In that regard, we will realize that there is a lot of importance in what is coming out from that marriage, which is the root cause. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
So that foundation is very, very important. And psychologically, children takes after their parents. I was talking to somebody that wanted to open a school. I was telling that person that he said, you're supposed to have a school. And I said, no, I cannot have a school now. I said, you're supposed to have a school. Somebody like you need to have. And I said, if I have a school, I might have just like 10 children. And I said, why? And I said, because I'm going to look at the parent of the child I'm going to get to put in my school. Do you understand? If they are the type that will not listen to correction, if they are the type that will not go with me, that we don't have the same mind, I can't work together with them. And that's because that is the basis.
Okay.
So, but nowadays, parents usually kind of divert their attention to all the modalities, even the school heads. If anything goes wrong with their children, they'll go to the principal, the teacher. Why did my child do like this? Why did my child behave like this? Why did he got this kind of mark? Do you understand? Meanwhile, the fault is from them. You have to work together. It should be a collaboration, not for the modalities or and there's this thing again. Most times they believe when the child is out of hands that they feel that they can now send that child to Madaris.
We have turned
to a rehabilitation
God
center.
bless you. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
So,
They believe that's
like
where they will
like a remand
modify.
home.
Yeah.
So social deviants.
Exactly.
Those are the people who will now turn over to malams.
And at the end
this
of
boy is already something is wrong with his brain now.
Exactly.
Yeah, they say you people have something like this kind of exorcism that you do.
Yeah.
So this boy is no longer he's no
Behaving
longer
normal.
he's not behaving normal again, and I feel like something is wrong somewhere. Afar, please help us pray now. You people know how to pray.
Yeah, in fact, they will dash the child to Madaris.
Yes,
Please go and be staying there.
So imagine.
So that's it. Everything's just a kind of orientation, which is very, very wrong.
So it means we have a what orientation
We
about
have
what the
exactly,
religion
exactly,
is.
exactly.
The role of teachers, whether it's religious teachers, whether it is conventional school teachers.
Yeah.
Because even for this Western education that a lot of people talk about, many parents have actually abdicated their responsibilities to the schools after all, paying school fees.
Yeah.
So whatever, I'm trying to imagine that how many hours do these children spend in school,
That's
and how
it.
many hours do they spend with their parents at home? It's all right. You're still listening to Everyday Muslim on Women Radio 91.7. We'll go on a short break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us.
You know what Islam is? It's a way of life for all. It is taught in the Quran for big and small. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way. Do you know what Islam says? It says that life's the greatest test. It says that life's a borrowed space, returned upon rest. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way. Islam solves all of our problems. Allah leaves no stone unturned. Perfect with no flaws at all are the laws of Allah. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way. It's a complete way.
All right, if you just joined us, you are still listening to Everyday Muslim on Women Radio 91.7 FM. And we are discussing when brilliant avoid teaching, who educate your child. So when those who possess the knowledge, who are very brilliant, who are respected in the society, when they avoid teaching, then who are those that we expect to actually nurture our younger generation? And our guest discussant is Haja Basira Diruju Sulaiman Sholaja, an educator, a mentor, a counselor, and a psychological consultant with over a decade of experience in guiding parents and youth. She is a proud product with a background in a proud product of Al Balag Academy in the United Kingdom, with her background in English education, counseling, and Islamic psychology. She helps nurture families emotionally. She helps not families to nurture emotionally intelligent and well-rounded children. And as a founder of AWN Consult Limited, she is passionate about empowering women and young people to grow with purpose, values, and resilience. You can be a part of this discourse by calling the number 07000 917 917. I'll take that again. It's 07000 917 917. Alternatively, you can call the number 091 55 917 917. That is 091 55 917 917. The toll free line for our female callers is 0800 1235 917. 0800 1235 917. You can also send a message via SMS or WhatsApp to the number 081 55 917 917. That is 081 55 917 917. Messages to the number. All right, we have a call on the line. Hello. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. All right. So, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Masood Abdulkadir. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
All right. Glad to have you. So, let's have your comments, or question, or contribution.
I just want to greet you guys.
Thank you very much.
I want to say thank you very much and enjoy your program.
All right, Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you there. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. So you can also help us extend the message to other members of your community. Let them also listen. So, all right. So the program is also streaming live on YouTube via WFM YouTube page. So go to YouTube and type in Women Radio 91.7. So you would see the red colored logo of Women Radio. So there you can click on the live button, so to see what is going on in the studio. So you see the presenter, you also see our guest discussant. So we are, like I said, we are discussing when brilliance avoids teaching, who educates your child. So Haja Basira, we know quite all that for a lot of Muslims, for Muslims generally, at first Allah himself has actually told us that we have the best of example in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he was also a teacher, and like I always tell people, see me, I love that the fact that I'm a teacher, because I'm actually I'm following the footsteps of the prophets. So it's a prophetic profession. Can you imagine that? I even love the sound, prophetic profession. Come on. All right. Yeah. As a student of English, that sounds wonderful. All right. So the Prophet sallam, whenever he taught wherever he found hearts ready to learn. So he actually doesn't wait for classrooms or titles or special sessions purely organized for such any avenue for him to actually pass his message across to people. He does that. So this spontaneity and circumstantial approach to teaching, how should this model reshape our modern understanding of who a teacher is and what qualifies as education?
Thank you. I want to use myself as an example
All right.
somehow. Me, I have kind of a teenager.
Okay.
So most of the time, I might just be like, please you come, Fatima, please come. Initially, I might just want to call her to kind of sense on errands or something. I might just sense something, and I'll just be like, I'll start talking. And at the end of the day, if I check the time, it's like 30 minutes. I was like, so we've been here since 30 minutes. Something like that.
Yeah.
So why do I do that? At the point my husband used to do something, he'd be like, what did you tell that child that time? Do you remember? And I said, I did not remember. He said, I will start recording for you because some things you say it without you even knowing it, and there are some facts there.
Very spontaneous.
Most of the time, for these are for women, because of where we are, and even for men, we shouldn't wait for an appropriate or a kind of a refined setting to say that we want to teach our children or anyone around us. Because during the time of the prophet, sometimes they learn in war. That is some
different situations.
It's different situations. There was a time, there was a companion asking our mother Aisha that, can you describe the prophet to us? And it says, no, there is no any description other than the Quran is the prophet.
It's a walking Quran.
It's a walking Quran. So there are a lot of instances. Like, how do you do your ghusl? If like married people, if you kiss yourself, are you going to use your ablution? Is it different? Like that. It is not something they had to sit down to learn.
One by one.
It is something exactly. So we shouldn't wait until that, because if we continue to wait, a lot of things will be going wrong. So what am I doing? Okay, when we were coming, I was trying to kind of send an information to my children. I was trying to call them. I didn't get through. So later, my husband called and he was trying to give the information. I was sleeping. I was trying to kind of sleep, like, let me have 10 minutes sleep or something. So I just say, please, just give me the phone. You won't pass the information the way I will pass it. Hello, do this. Okay, put this on. Like, I just gave the information. I gave the phone back to you. And I said, but you've said I should help you pass, and you won't get it. Do you understand? So there is a kind of bond. Mothers should take notes. We shouldn't wait for an ideal time to pass information to both our female children and our male children. There is no discrimination in terms of passing that information, because these boys we are talking about are going to become man and the Rijal of tomorrow, and they need this proper attention. There was a day I forgot I have not teach my child. He's 12, and I've not taught him about when he gets to a puberty stage and is in boarding school. I had to run. I was on traveling. I told my husband, I forgot something. I said, why do you said you are coming home tomorrow? Why today? I said, yes, today. I have to come home today because I forgot something and he's going back to school. I don't want any other person to help me tell him. So I had to tell him myself that I can't remember if I've mentioned it before, but now he's growing older. And I heard about a boy that gets to a teenager at the age of 12. I said, no. I had to tell him myself. And I sat him down, hello. Do you know when something
like
this is how is this is how I try to kind of explain things to him. And the issue of the 7 years
777 model of the prophet. You mentioned it earlier. Probably this is an opportunity for you to explain.
The first 7 years is the kind of the formative stage for the children. And that time is kind of somehow difficult. We always feel like they are not hearing us. How are we going to how are they going to understand something? But that time is the time, the way I used to explain it, is the time parents need to be more spiritually inclined. They must be conscious of everything they are doing, both private and in public. Because whatever we do, the children imitate. I'm talking about, especially the men, immediately we give birth to those children. The fathers, they need to be very careful. Very, very careful. In fact, if it's something that maybe is an habit that we do, we need to stay away from those things. Because either they see us or did not see us. I don't know. Allah is so kind of perfect. I don't know. Because all these things has been explained in the Quran. But when we are doing it psychology, I was just like, that was the time I had to run away from my class because I was like, no, why are you people telling me what? As in, it's
What
kind
are-
of magical somehow. Like, how is it possible?
Possible.
Do you understand?
This
They will
information has
get-
been available to us
Yeah.
over 1,400 years ago.
So there is a way this thing works. We need to be very careful. That first 7 years is the most critical stage. Very, very sensitive. We need to be. And the second 7 years is that another stage where we feel like probably they are into their mid-teens. Now we feel like, they are not, we feel they are growing wings. We want to allow them feel free. We need to also be careful. We need to be very, very careful and listen to them more.
All right.
Yeah.
For probably for context sake, a lot of you probably don't understand. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave us a model with regards to nurturing our kids, and he said, play with them for the first 7 years, teach and nurture them, and train them in the next 7 years, and advise them for the next 7 years. Now, if you look at that very critically, Hajj Basira told us the first 7 years is a formative stage, but at that point, you need to bond with them. It's not serious so much because it's not everything they can understand, but they are actually watching everything that you do, and they mimic everything that you do at that stage. They don't understand, but they just see you doing it and they replicate it. The next 7 years, they start asking questions. They are conscious of some things, and that is where anything you do, they say, why? Mommy, why? Daddy, why did you do this? Why did you do that? At that point, that is when you now teach them so many things that they need to learn. At those times, if you want to force them, enforce the discipline, enforce morality, enforce spirituality, it is at that stage you need to do that. And the last 7 years, at that point, you can't beat them again. 14 years, a child that is already 14, 15, cane does not work. That's adolescence. So they see themselves as adults and they are not yet adults. So they want to do what adults are also doing. So at that point in time, it's more of advice and support that you give, such that at the end of the day, by the time they are 21, the relationship they would have with you and the necessary things they ought to know, they would have it. And they will not be able to depart from it as they grow and as they actually, think about probably settling down and what have you. So that's why it is called the 777 model of child upbringing in Islam. Pray Allah makes it easy, because I know it's not easy. A lot of time parents will say, all this you are saying, hey, it's not easy, hey, in this economy, in this, in that. Hey, before we go and look for money, we don't even have time. And the reality is a lot of parents don't even know.
If they give the time now, they will enjoy it later.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. And I hope they are listening. I just hope they are listening. Now, because we have talked about this issue with our education sector, nurturing our children, teaching them. So now let's talk about solutions. So what bold, actionable steps can communities, schools, and faith-based institutions take to make education attractive again? And in this time, to reward teaching, or in raising the bar of entry, or probably making the young people proud to say, I want to teach. So what are those things that you would recommend for us? Because for me, that's the most important thing as far as today's program is concerned. Let us recommend to people what they need to do. Because personally, I'm actually frustrated with the way teachers have been treated, either by the government or even by the society.
Even by the private.
Don't even go there. Those ones are slave masters. So they feel like for everything, we must milk the effort out of you, and they pay miserable amounts as compensation or in terms of salary. So let's not even go there. But at least if government is setting the standards and the society itself values and appreciates the worth of teachers, then probably it will dovetail to these private school owners.
I'm sorry, I'm going to answer this question a different way.
No problem.
I'm going to start by telling you that every individual, every potential teachers, or any teacher, anybody that intends to teach, should first of all appreciate him or herself. Appreciate yourself.
Intrinsic
Be proud of
motivation.
yourself.
Intrinsic motivation.
Exactly. Be proud of yourself. Be ready to go out there and tell people, I'm a teacher. I'm an educationist. Do you understand? You should be bold.
Self-esteem.
It's
Build your
self-esteem.
self-esteem.
Do you understand?
All right.
Which is like the Yoruba people will say, the way you carry your calabash is the way other people will help you.
Yes.
The way you present yourself is the way people will
It
welcome
really
your
seen his son in
relationship.
Lojo. Yes.
Exactly. So that is that.
Okay.
The fact that you understand and appreciate yourself, you cannot go for an interview as a teacher, and you are during your interview, there are some questions that you'll be asked. Probably you got all your questions right and everything, but there will be room for you to tell them what you want. So you should be free to tell them exactly what you feel you deserve. When you start doing that, you are not going into teaching job because you feel that there is no other job to do. There is no other option. Let me just go and teach. At least they will pay me this kind of amount.
Make them understand that it's a choice.
Yeah. And make them realize that without us, teachers, there cannot be school. There cannot even be society. Do you understand? So when we start doing that, there is no how we will not be recognized.
Okay.
And this is not a matter of protest. Do you understand?
No.
It's just a simple thing, trying to understand and appreciate yourself.
Enforcing your self-worth.
Yeah. So when you start
realizing
doing
and understanding the fact that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you demand.
Exactly.
And in making such demands, you must know what you deserve.
Exactly. Like what's it called? These are former president South Africa, Nelson Mandela said something. He said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.
Absolutely.
So when an educationist understand this, when a teacher understand this, you will be confident when you are talking anyway. And if they are offering you the kind of amount below what you think you can offer them, then you just go. But when you are able to kind of give them, show them the little time you are trying during your interview, you are able to show them your competence, your qualities, your values. You are trying the way you are even talking. You don't just go for school of education and stop there. Go for other profession. What's it called? What will I call it? Go for other certifications. I mean, go for seminars, get more knowledge about what you build your capacity and know yourself. Then people will accept you. Do you understand?
Right.
And when everybody realizes that being an educationist does not mean you are going to be in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you also know your worth. Then they will value you.
All right.
They will ask for you.
We have this message from Madam Bola. She's one of our regular contributors on the program. She says, "Good morning, sir, Ma. Thank you very much for this important topic. Education in our country is so complex, but our government does not see the importance of treating it with the level of seriousness it requires. What do we expect from the education where the people put in charge are from, political, how will I put it, layabouts? It's just for political considerations that they are made, leaders or managers of the education sector. It says, please appeal to the government, parents, and educators to see it as a trust. Put in place good regulations that must be abided, with, and promote teaching as a pride of the country." Thank you, Madam Bola. Thank you very much for that message.
So when we try to kind of understand our worth, definitely we will not be the one looking for them. They will be the one requesting for teachers.
All right.
Do you understand?
Absolutely.
So that, and as our contributors already said, the governments need to start seeing importance in education. Like whatever we are copying from other country, let us copy that too. They value education
in other places.
In other places of the world, they value education. They give importance to teachers.
That's why they are well remunerated in other places.
That's why most of the educationists we have here running away.
Yes, I remember that 2 years ago, the United Kingdom threw out applications for teachers worldwide. Come to the UK, and many Nigerian teachers applied. Actually, a lot of them. And since COVID, the education sector has not recovered because many teachers actually left the education system.
Yeah.
Until today, every day you see vacancies. Yes, every school there are vacancies for teachers because a lot of people are not actually filling up those spaces left because they feel like, no, I deserve better and I'm not getting the best that I deserve from this profession. All right, I love that. So Jazakumullah khairan. All right, and now if you would, I want you now, you have this opportunity to speak directly to brilliant students out there who's been pressured to choose something better in quotes than education. So if you have an opportunity to speak to them, which want to afford you now, what would you say to them and to their parents?
Yeah, I have these 4 questions
Mm,
that I have in mind.
mm,
Because if I have a candidate like that in me with me that maybe come for a counseling or something, the first thing I'll ask you is how much do you know of yourself?
mm.
Do you understand?
Okay.
After getting the fact that okay, you understand yourself to some extent, then what's your goal?
Mm. What do you want to achieve?
What do you want to achieve? What are the parent expectation from you?
Mm,
What are your parent expectation? Then where did you want to and as in ask the parents, where do you want to see your child in the next 5 years?
mm,
Answering those questions, I know that their question will be like, I want them to be psychologically all right, spiritually okay, financially okay, economically, I want them to be everything okay,
mm,
like that. The point is, when we see a child that is self-aware,
mm,
that knows he or her worth,
mhm,
definitely there is a way for that child. We don't have to stress much. Do you understand? Because the child has already as in give us that landmark mark for him to tread. So all we need to do for that child is just to guide the child towards that direction.
mhm,
Do you understand?
mm.
So if I know this kind of child and I've kind of had that question, then it's an opportunity for me to let that child know that you are good in that field that you've chosen as an educationist.
Mm.
And I'm so proud of that girl that's called 278
78.
and
Yes.
she insists on them doing education.
In fact, that
Because
statement she made.
yeah, so I'm so
Facts.
proud, and I'm proud of the kind of parent that raised that child. Even
Yes.
if they are not really kind of proud, like they want,
Nah, they
I
wanted
want you to
her
do
to
nursing. Yeah,
study something else.
we here are proud of her,
We
and
are.
we really really appreciate the fact that she can come out and say that this is
Yes.
what she wants to do.
Mm.
And my dear, if you are listening, I'm telling you, being an educationist doesn't mean you are going to be in the classroom. That doesn't mean you can be in the classroom.
Being in the classroom is one of the best things I can ever do.
Yeah,
I will
but
even say that.
no, what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
you
so
can, you can, she can be.
Don't
she can
limit
be,
yourself to the fact that it is all about the classroom. I
in
love that.
fact,
That's
you know, she can have a kind of her own office
yes.
and be an education
Yes,
consultant
consultant.
and
Yes.
go out there to train teachers.
Mhm.
Do you understand? That's what
Absolutely.
I mean.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
all
what
right.
I mean.
Good. Good.
At least that is kind of appealing to teachers, to parents. They won't be like, oh no, you have to
Okay.
be in the class.
Yes. 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 All right.
That's what I mean.
Jazakumullah
Thank you
khairan.
very much.
All right. Thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate Hajja Basira. For Sulaiman Shulaja for the insight that she has shared on today's program. We've been discussing when brilliance avoids teaching, who educates your child. I will just leave you with this. One of my teachers of blessed memory actually wrote a book. Professor Akonde of blessed memory said, an engineer dies with his mistake, a doctor buries his mistake, and the society perishes with the mistake of a teacher. So I want us to actually reflect on that. An engineer dies with his mistake, a doctor buries his mistake, just like the doctor you mentioned, and the society perishes with the mistake of a teacher. So what exactly do we want for our society? And the reality is, being a teacher, see, one of the professions, the best of professions in the world is teaching. It's the job of Allah himself. Allah is the first teacher.
Yeah.
It's the job of the prophets. He raised them to teach and nurture the society. They taught and they trained people. And for us that you're teaching, you are the inheritors of the prophets. Then beyond that is now the fact that with teaching, it's also a sadaqah jariyah, a flowing charity that you continue to earn reward for as long as people continue to benefit from the knowledge that you give them. Just as if you are also observing. So even if you are dead, you continue to earn rewards when your students continue to, benefit from your knowledge. All right, you can listen again to this episode or other previous episodes of Everyday Muslim on impact-ng.org. Scroll down and click on the Impact Project to view Everyday Muslim past uploaded episodes. Follow Everyday Muslim on social media: Facebook Everyday Muslim, Instagram Everyday Muslim 01. Inshallah, Everyday Muslim will make its way back to your airwaves next week, same time, 11 a.m., same station, WFM 91.7 FM. I'd like to thank the Muslim Public Affairs Center, who has actually facilitated this, and the management of WFM Women Radio 91.7 FM. I remain Abdul Hakim Qasim. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
To sponsor this program, call the number 0816 480 7613.
WFM. Moving to inspire and to break the culture of silence. Here is 91.7, the voice of women, the voice of women, the voice of women. 91.7, the voice of women, the voice of women, the voice of women.